2026 has been a year of great films so far, but none have had the immediate success that Obsession has had. Director Curry Barker, who runs a successful skits channel on YouTube, has also made his own short horror films on the platform. Barker states that the inspiration for the film came from Wish Gone Wrong stories, with the Simpsons episode The Monkey's Paw being a key inspiration. This sparked the idea of having a lonely guy make a wish for someone to love him, getting exactly what he wants, and ultimately realizing how terrifying forced love can become. As we see in the film, Nikki has abnormal and awkward behavior while she is under the control of the wish. Barker states that the inspiration for this was uncanny horror rather than traditional jump scares, which we do see in the film. He also took inspiration from toxic attachment and unhealthy obsession, which is the key plot of this film. A lot of the film's disturbing feeling came from Barker wanting audiences to feel emotionally uncomfortable instead of just startled. He described his style as creating moments where viewers think, "Oh, I didn't like that. That was weird." These are themes that Barker had previously explored in his short films prior to the creation of Obsession. Diving into the video, I will go over many aspects of the film. This video will be split into 3 chapters. Each chapter will explore the certain aspect of the film and the true meaning that I believe Barker was going for and intended to connect with audiences. This film has many factors that contribute to the story that not only go into the story, but also connect to the real world in meaningful and uncanny ways. This film has many factors that contribute to the story that not only go into the story, but also connect to the real world in meaningful and uncanny ways. To start, I will go over the theme of control and love. We know that from the start of the film, Bear, played by Michael Johnston, has a crush on Nikki, played by Ende Navarrete, and he is quote-unquote in love with her. We know that Bear is shy and can have a hard time expressing his emotions to Nikki. Ian, played by Cooper Tomlinson, tries to help him by giving him advice and having the waitress, played by Chloe Breen, run through a scenario to help Bear tell Nikki how he feels. Everything that happens in the film revolves around Bear being too shy and hesitant to tell Nikki how he truly feels. Nikki gives Bear the opportunity to tell her how he truly feels and he does not, which leads to him making the wish that Nikki would love him more than anyone in the entire world. As we know, this is a moment that changes everything, as Nikki is no longer in control and her body is now possessed by Bear's wish. The wish can be interpreted in many ways. The one wish willow was intended to be a gift for Nikki, and never for Bear. Bear made the wish in the last minute panic after he was still too scared to tell Nikki how he truly felt. Bear had no idea that the wish would come true. As we see when he goes to the store and talks to the shopkeeper, they talk about people trying to return the willows, and Bear states that they must be a scam. Bear has no intent or intentions with the wish other than the wish being a wish. Now, there is a hint that Bear does wonder if the wish worked when Nikki comes to the car and acts not as herself when he looks back at the willow. Throughout the film, Bear continues to be in denial and tries to mask the fact that something is wrong with Nikki. As we know, she tells Bear that she is going through a hard time due to her dad having cancer. We then learn later in the film that she isn't even close to him and hates him. We also see in the film the abnormal behavior that the possessed Nikki has when she watches Bear sleeping at 3 AM, hidden in a dark corner. She cannot go without Bear at any time, and when she does, it seems that she glitches and cannot do anything unless Bear is in her vicinity. The wish gives this possessed version of Nikki an attachment to Bear, as he wishes for her to love him more than anyone in the world. This turns into an unhealthy attachment that this version of Nikki now has for Bear. This version of Nikki is dependent. For those who don't know what this means, this is when a partner depends on the other excessively for emotional support, validation, and self-worth, leading to imbalance and strain. This is what occurs between Nikki and Bear. This can also be seen as emotional possession. This is something that a lot of couples struggle with in the real world, maybe not to the extent that we see in the film, but this is a common factor in real-world relationships. In the film, Ian, who is Bear's best friend, tells Bear that it looks like Bear is taking advantage of Nikki due to Nikki not being in the best state. On the other hand, Sarah, played by Megan Lawless, tells Bear that it looks like Nikki is taking advantage of him. They both view Bear and Nikki as using each other. I view this as manipulation. Nikki does everything that she does in the film to try and control and also guilt Bear. The times that Bear wants to leave or do something alone, even use the restroom, Nikki wants to be with him, signaling her controlling nature. When Bear tells Nikki that they should take some time apart, and various other times throughout the film, Nikki guilt trips Bear by claiming that he doesn't love her. This brings us back to the start. Obsession is really about control, not love. This film shows us the controlling nature a relationship can have while also being masked with the intent of quote-unquote love. Obsession is a drug that can lead to an unhealthy attachment in a relationship. In the end, the film shows us that when love becomes control, it stops being love at all. I want to get into the sound design, pacing, dialogue, and the human body movements that happen throughout the film. The sound design for this film is phenomenal and goes perfectly with the film. The sound design also plays a huge role in building anxiety throughout the film. The film uses sound in a great way to blend with the dialogue. When Nikki yells or there is a moment of horror, the sound design complements the dialogue and the scenes greatly. There are really no jump scares in this film aside from the 3 a.m. scene and the scenes where Nikki walks in reverse, but I would not put these into the jump scare category. I would put them more in the uncanny, weird category that Barker was going for in this film. The dialogue is another factor that is done well with Nikki's character in this film. There are times throughout the film where Bear asks her questions and it seems that she is unable to comprehend at times the meaning of what he is saying. She malfunctions and proceeds to assure the love she has for him. Going into the body language and behavior, Nikki's character does these movements with her body that are abnormal and not human. There are various times throughout the film where she has these abnormal movements. There are times when the real Nikki takes control of her body once again for a split second, but the movements progressively get more abnormal as the film goes on. The times when she smiles are also random, and she does this to try to gain the trust of Bear. Much of the horror in this film comes from these gestures. The scene where Bear leaves for work and Nikki just stands there and smiles is abnormal, as we see she is there until Bear comes home from work. I also have to give a major applause to Ende Navarrete, because when she does this smile, it doesn't even look like it is her. She does a great job in this film with the sudden body movements and the changes of character. She gives an outstanding performance, and I look to seeing more from her in the future. As Barker has stated, he went for the "oh, I did not like that was weird" reaction from the crowd, and Ende Navarrete's performance is a testament to that. All of these characteristics throughout the film gave the film the uncanny, disturbing horror feeling rather than the generic jump scare horror feel that many films have. Instead of relying on sudden scares to shock the audience, the film creates a constant sense of unease that lingers long after each scene ends. The awkward interactions, escalating tension, unsettling sound design, and realistic performances work together to make the horror feel grounded in reality. One of the most interesting ways to look at obsession is through the symbolism of the One-Wish Willow itself. While it functions as a supernatural plot device on the surface, it can also be viewed as a representation of entitlement and fantasy. Instead of accepting the uncertainty that comes with real relationships, the wish offers a shortcut, a way to bypass another person's free will and force a desired outcome. In that sense, the willow becomes a symbol of the desire to control love rather than earn. The wish can also be interpreted as a metaphor for fantasy relationships. Rather than connecting with someone as they truly are, Bear becomes attached to an idealized version of Nikki. Their relationship is no longer built on the true relationship they once had. Instead, it is built on a manufactured fantasy where one person's desires takes priority over the other person's autonomy. The horror comes from watching that fantasy slowly replace reality. Another key theme tied to the creation of the wish is rejection. The bear is afraid of being rejected by Nikki and damaging the close relationship that they have. Rather than telling Nikki how he truly feels, he makes the wish as a last-minute panic instead of facing his fear of being rejected. This turns into what Bear believes is something that will have no meaning, into something much darker. The desire for love becomes a desire for control, revealing how obsession often begins when someone cannot let go of the outcome they want. The film also explores the idea of artificial intimacy. Genuine relationships require vulnerability, choice, and emotional honesty from both people involved. The wish removes that choice. As a result, any intimacy that develops feels hollow because it was never freely given. The audience is constantly reminded that something is wrong beneath the surface, creating the unsettling feeling that defines much of the film's horror. Ultimately, the One-Wish Willow symbolizes obsession as a form of self-destruction. The more the character tries to force love into existence, the further they move away from experiencing real love at all. Their fixation consumes their judgment, damages their relationships, and isolates them from reality. Forcing love destroys authenticity. The moment love is controlled, manipulated, or manufactured, it ceases to exist. What remains is not love, but a distorted reflection of it, one built on possession rather than connection. Obsession is a film of many symbolisms. There will be unique ways that we interpret this film. Many of us will see the film the same way. There are also those who will not. This film will spark conversation, and more theories about the film and what the film truly means will arise. Barker, the crew, and the cast did a phenomenal job creating this film. Barker has already filmed his next film, Anything But Ghosts, which he states takes place in the same universe as Obsession. He also teased that we will hear a news broadcast that references a homicide that involves the death of 3 individuals at the hand of a woman, implying that Nikki did indeed face the repercussions of the way the film ended. Cooper Tomlinson will also appear in the film, which does raise questions. Anything But Ghosts is slated for an October release, meaning we do not have to wait long to dive back into the Obsession universe. Thank you all for watching and going on this journey with. I'll see you in the next one. As always, God bless all.